warrior, you are not here by accident. Your breath, your heartbeat, the electric fire running through your veins, these are not random glitches in a cold machine. They are proof, living, undeniable proof, that the universe is not chaos, but intelligent structure. Feedback, intention, order, and you are the signal. Let's break something open right now. You've been told the universe is random, that your life is some meaningless drift through probability, that you're flesh and bone just stumbling into purpose. But what if that was a lie? A lazy man's comfort? A smokescreen to keep you passive? Because if randomness ruled, then a blind man spinning a Rubik's Cube once per second for 13.8 billion years wouldn't even have a 1% chance of solving it. Let that sink in. That's just a toy, just colors on plastic. Now imagine the complexity of you, a living organism with 100 trillion cells, all firing, all moving, all organizing in perfect harmony, every millisecond. Do you think that happened by chance? No. Something deeper is at play. And here's the part they don't want you to realize. It responds to you. Lesson 1. You are the feedback. Let's start with a brutal truth, warrior. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are, what you speak, what you feel, what you believe deep in your bones. It echoes, not metaphorically, not poetically, mechanically. It reflects back to you, just like sound in a canyon or a signal bouncing off a satellite. That's why your life is the way it is right now. Not because you're cursed, not because you're unlucky, but because you've been feeding the universe your fears, your doubts, your indecision, and it's been listening. This is the principle that governs all creation. Feedback. Just like a Rubik's Cube handed to a blind man, solving it in 13.8 billion years is statistically impossible, unless you give him one tiny piece of information. Yes, you're getting closer, or no, you're moving away. With just that, he could solve it in minutes. Now ask yourself, what have you been feeding into the feedback loop? Every complaint you make, every time you say, nothing ever works out for me. Every time you say, I'm just not that kind of person. Every time you speak from fear rather than power, you are steering the signal in the wrong direction. And the universe doesn't argue. It doesn't filter your words. It doesn't ask, did they mean that? It just reflects. It mirrors. It obeys the vibration. If you say, I'm broke, you're not just stating a fact. You're placing an order. If you say, I'm not good enough, you're not venting. You're broadcasting coordinates for self-destruction. That's how powerful you are. Even your complaints become commands. So what are you commanding? You see, most people treat their words like they're disposable, as if speaking negatively is some kind of emotional release, some kind of therapy. But it's not. It's sabotage. Your words are weapons. And every time you speak aimlessly, you wound yourself. You say, I want to be successful. But behind closed doors, your beliefs scream, I don't think I'm capable. I'm scared of failing. I don't want to be judged. And the universe hears those more clearly than your shallow wishes. This is why discipline of speech matters. Not because it's cute, not because it makes you a positive person, but because it aligns you with the field of creation. You don't manifest what you desire. You manifest what you believe is normal, what you tolerate, what you expect, what you rehearse in thought, feeling, and behavior every single day. So if your normal is poverty, conflict, stress, self-doubt, then congratulations. You'll get more of it. Until you speak differently. The power of reversal. You want to shift your life? Shift your signal. You want to escape your patterns? Change what you're feeding into the loop. Every day, ask yourself, what am I broadcasting right now? What am I affirming with my attention? What am I reinforcing with my energy? And here's the kicker. You don't even have to feel perfect to start shifting the feedback. You just have to act like the version of you that already has what you seek. Because energy doesn't lie. You either emit confidence or you emit confusion. You either speak life or you speak limitation. There's no neutral signal. So if you keep waking up repeating yesterday's thoughts, living in yesterday's identity, dwelling on yesterday's wounds, then the field will say, they want more of that. Feed it back. Amplify it. Deliver. But if you rise and say, I command clarity, I demand transformation, I declare war on the old signal, then the field will shift. Not instantly, but undeniably. You are the cause, not the effect. This is what most never understand. They think they're victims of circumstance, when in truth, they are generators of experience. The signal you send returns. So if you want your life to feel ordered, if you want the chaos to collapse into clarity, you must take radical responsibility for the words you speak, the thoughts you feed, the energy you emit. You are the cause. You are the catalyst. You are the correction. Or you are the curse. The difference is what you choose to say and believe when no one is listening. Because the universe always is. Final thought on feedback. This law of feedback does not care about your excuses. It doesn't pause for your pain. It doesn't soften for your struggles. It is exact. It is brutal. It is pure. And that's a gift. Because it means you can change everything. But only when you stop speaking like a victim. Only when you stop repeating defeat, like it's your mantra. Only when you stop waiting for permission to change, and instead declare, with fire and finality, what the next version of you will look like, speak like, act like, and command like. Then, and only then, does the signal start to shift. Because you are not some accident in a random universe. You are the feedback that reshapes it. Lesson 2. Miracles aren't rare. You are one. Look around, warrior. You see buildings, people, nature, noise. But what you don't see, what most never question, is the sheer impossibility of all of this existing at all. Especially you. You've been told that life just happened. That one day, out of nowhere, a little cell randomly formed. And then, boom, eventually you showed up. Thinking, speaking, creating, bleeding, loving, building. What a convenient lie. Let's tear the mask off that story. Let's expose the truth buried beneath the surface. The odds of one single biological cell forming randomly, the bare minimum for what we call life, are 1 in 10 to the 8,896th power. That's a number with 8,896 zeros. To put it in perspective, the radius of the known universe in centimeters is 10 to the 28th power. Think about that. The odds of you being here are so violently beyond impossible that they make the size of the universe look small. And yet, here you are, breathing, thinking, dreaming, struggling, fighting. You are not a mistake. You are not random. You are not here because of luck. You are here because information in the universe collapsed into form, into you. You are the improbable miracle the odds said should never have existed. So why do you keep acting like your life is meaningless? You were not meant to be average. A Rubik's Cube has 43 quintillion possible configurations. Solve it randomly. Less than 1% chance in the entire 13.8 billion year history of the universe. Now compare that to you, made of 100 trillion cells, communicating and coordinating every millisecond just to keep you alive. You're vastly more complex than that cube. And yet, you're here, awake, able to think, move, and speak your truth. Able to shift your thoughts and direct your actions toward a future of your choosing. That isn't luck. That isn't chaos. That's a message, warrior. A declaration embedded into your very existence. You were never meant to be average. You were never meant to be passive. You were meant to shape the field. But most don't believe that. Most bow to mediocrity, as if it's their destiny. They waste their miracle on comfort, on distraction, on doubt. Not you. You were meant to remember. You are the proof that the universe organizes toward intelligence. You weren't born to drift. You were born to wield. You are the evidence that the universe can rise from disorder into structure. That information in the field can become intention. That chaos can submit to clarity. When you understand this, when you internalize the truth of how improbable your life is, you stop waiting for signs. You stop begging for purpose. You stop playing it safe. Because you are the sign. You are the purpose. You are the miracle. And miracles don't waste time. They don't hesitate. They don't shrink for anyone's comfort. They burn. They rise. They command. So ask yourself, are you honoring the miracle of your existence, or are you throwing it away? The real tragedy. Most people die without ever realizing what they are. They walk around with dead eyes, stuck in cycles, chained to illusions. They spend their lives begging for meaning, never realizing they are the meaning. That their very presence defies every known law of randomness. That their thoughts create ripples. That their energy bends probabilities. That their will alters timelines. But the system wants you asleep. Because a sleeping miracle is harmless. A miracle with no memory of its power is just another cog in the machine. That's why they feed you fear. That's why they keep you busy. That's why they drown you in noise and tell you to fit in, calm down, and stop asking questions. Because the second you remember, everything changes. A man who remembers he's a miracle doesn't settle. A woman who remembers she's not random stops apologizing. A soul who remembers their power no longer follows the rules written by the blind. You were not built for that cage. Your existence is a weapon. Use it. Stop searching for confirmation. You're not a theory. You're not a hypothesis. You're proof. So walk like it. Speak like it. Act like it. You think fear is your problem? You think doubt is your chain? No. Your real problem is forgetting what you are. You are the rarest probability in the known universe. You are living consciousness rising from numbers that should have never aligned. You are breath pulled from impossible odds. You are potential sculpted from chaos into will. So how dare you stay small? How dare you use your voice to spread limitation? How dare you live a life that doesn't challenge, stretch, or ignite you? You were not given this breath to blend in. You were given it to build empires, to shape dimensions, to remake yourself over and over again until your reflection scares even the stars. Final thought on miracles. When you understand that you are the miracle, you stop chasing them. You stop looking for signs from the sky or messages in your dreams. You start looking in the mirror, and you ask, am I living like something impossible just came to life? Because that's what you are. And if you're not living like it, then you're wasting it. You are the code that cracked through silence. You are the evidence that intention can shape matter. And now you have a choice. Will you honor that miracle? Or will you die never realizing you were it? Lesson 3. There is no emptiness, only untuned potential. You've been lied to again, warrior. They told you space is empty, that what you can't see has no power, that if something isn't solid, it isn't real. But here's the truth they don't want you to remember. The emptiness is not empty. It is potential. It is information. It is waiting for command. The air between you and the stars, the space inside your body, the void they told you to ignore. That is where your true power is buried. You are not solid matter. You are not skin and bone and muscle. You are 99.9999999% space. And that space is not dead. It is not void. It is the field, the ether, the womb of all creation. It is alive with energy, memory, and infinite signal. Let that sink in. You're made mostly of space, which means everything you call you is formed, shaped, and held together by intention vibrating in an invisible field. You are not a body. You are a frequency, the illusion of density. Spiritual people always say, this world feels so dense. And they're right, but only because they've forgotten the truth. The density is an illusion, a trick of the senses, a mask of the matrix. You are surrounded, no, immersed, in a sea of pure possibility. What you call solid is just a frequency so stable and reinforced, it appears immovable. But nothing is immovable. Everything you can touch is just a structure of atoms. And when you zoom in on an atom, what do you find? Space, electric charge, vibration. The tiniest pieces of reality aren't particles. They are fields with boundaries formed by charge, formed by information. The table in front of you, the walls around you, even your own hand, are not solid in the way you were taught. They are organized energy, crystallized by signal and locked in place by vibration. So what does that mean for you? It means your entire world is not built of matter. It is built of possibility, tuned into reality. And that which has been tuned can be retuned. The truth about the field. Turn on a radio. The station plays music. But the music was already in the room, broadcast invisibly, silently, through a field of information. Your radio didn't create the music. It tuned into it. Now take that understanding and apply it to your life. You think you're here to figure it all out? No. You're here to tune. You're here to align your frequency with the field of potential that's already surrounding you. That's already inside you. You don't create from nothing. You align with what's already available in the unseen. The love, the wealth, the strength, the identity. It's already in the field. But most of you are tuned to the wrong station. Tuned to fear. Tuned to scarcity. Tuned to helplessness. And then you wonder why life keeps playing the same miserable song. You must change the frequency. You must shift the signal. You must stop fighting the void, and instead, learn to command it. There is no void, only untapped power. The field you live in is not passive. It's responsive. It listens. It moves. It builds based on your energetic signature. And right now, most people are broadcasting confusion. Most people are echoing weakness. Most people are stuck in static because no one taught them how to tune themselves. But not you. You're not here to suffer inside a cage of ignorance. You're here to engineer your signal, to shape the field around you, to speak with precision into the invisible structure of life, and watch it obey. Let me be clear. There is no emptiness, only commands unspoken, only power unclaimed, only space waiting for your instruction. But if you refuse to speak with clarity, If you continue broadcasting doubt, then the field has no choice but to reflect that chaos back at you. This is not punishment. This is physics. The universe is structured to respond, but only to the ones who understand the game. Your thoughts are frequencies. Your emotions are signals. You think your sadness is invisible. You think your fear is just internal. You think your hope is some passive feeling. No. These are broadcasts. Your thoughts carry voltage. Your emotions carry amplitude. Your state of being becomes a magnetic signature in the field, and that signature pulls structure into form. Feel powerless long enough. You'll attract situations that confirm it. Feel strong long enough. You'll bend reality to match it. Think like a failure long enough. You'll collapse timelines that could have made you a king. Every moment you live is a feedback loop. Not because you're being tested, but because you're being mirrored. You are not punished for low energy. You are simply matched. So shift the signal. Not with fake affirmations, not with shallow mantras, but with internal combustion. Burn off the noise. Get silent. Get aligned. And tune like your life depends on it. Because it does. Final thought on untuned potential. There is no such thing as just space. There is no such thing as nothing. There is only unrealized reality, waiting for someone brave enough to shape it. You are a tuning fork, a walking signal tower, a breathing transmitter of creation. You don't live in a universe filled with empty space. You are the universe, and the space within you is the very engine of manifestation. So stop fearing the void. It is not here to destroy you. It is here to be commanded by you. Remember that. Lesson 4. Your reality is a mirror, not a prison. Look around you, warrior. The life you're living right now, the people you attract, the money in your account, the state of your body, the quality of your thoughts, is not a random set of outcomes. It's a mirror, a direct reflection of the energy you've been carrying, the choices you've been making, and the standard you've been willing to tolerate. Let me put it plainly. Reality is not fixed. It's projected. And what's worse than being trapped in a prison? Believing that the prison is real. Most people never escape. Not because they can't, but because they won't admit that the bars they see were welded by their own hands. They curse the world for being unfair. They scream into the void, "Why me?" But they never stop to ask the one question that could change everything. What if this is all a reflection of what I've been feeding into the field? Your world is not built on truth. It's built on belief. What you believe becomes your boundaries. What you expect becomes your evidence. What you dwell on becomes your experience. And the most dangerous part? It feels real. Because reality doesn't discriminate between truth and fiction. It reflects what's repeated. So if you believe you're stuck, you are. If you believe you'll always struggle, you will. If you believe the world is against you, it becomes hostile. But here's the twist. If you believe you're powerful, life begins to reorganize around that command. If you believe your destiny is unshakable, opportunities start to bend toward your path. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped being a prisoner, and you became a projector. Victims reflect. Creators redirect. Victims stare at the mirror and cry. They scream at it, curse it, shatter it. But what they don't realize is this. Breaking the mirror doesn't change the face. The reflection is not the problem. The problem is the signal behind it. You want to change the reflection? You have to change the frequency it's bouncing from. Let me say it differently. If you're always broke, it's not your paycheck. It's your blueprint. If you keep attracting chaos, it's not bad luck. It's your emotional signature. If you feel lost, it's not the world. It's your internal compass spinning without alignment. Your outer world is your inner world turned inside out. So don't be mad at what you see. Be mad at how long you've allowed the wrong signal to broadcast unchecked. And then, do something about it. You are the architect. The mirror obeys. Let's strip away the fluff. Every single second, your subconscious is scanning your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, and broadcasting that pattern into the field. That broadcast is picked up by the world around you and mirrored back in the form of circumstances, people, and opportunities, or lack thereof. It's not magic. It's not mysticism. It's mechanics. The universe doesn't care what you want. It reflects what you expect. It doesn't care what you wish for. It reflects what you believe is normal. So if you want to change your external world, you don't need to fight harder. You need to become someone else internally. Someone with a new normal. Someone who sees power where others see fear. Someone who walks into the storm with eyes wide open, knowing it will part. Because when you change who you are, the reflection has no choice but to update. Stop arguing with the mirror. Start redesigning the source. Most people try to negotiate with the world, begging, pleading, hoping something out there changes. But the mirror doesn't respond to words. It responds to being. Don't like what you're seeing? Then shift who you are being. And yes, that takes war. Because the image you've been feeding into the world for years isn't going to dissolve in a day. It's going to fight back. The old reflection will scream. It'll whisper that you're a fraud, that you can't change, that you're stuck forever. But that's just the echo of the past, fading. Every time you ignore that voice and stand tall anyway, the signal shifts. Every time you act from power instead of fear, the mirror reshapes. Every time you refuse to feed the old pattern, the system recalibrates. And then one day, you wake up, look around, and the world no longer looks the same. Because it isn't. You recoded it. Final thought on the mirror. You were never in a prison. You were standing in front of a mirror, scowling at a reflection you forgot you created. But now you remember. You are the cause. You are the frequency. You are the architect of what shows up next. The moment you stop reacting and start commanding, everything changes. Not because the world got easier, not because you got lucky, but because you finally realized the truth. Your reality is a mirror, and mirrors don't argue. They obey. Lesson 5. Consciousness is not local. So stop thinking small. Let's burn the illusion down once and for all, warrior. You have been taught to believe that your consciousness lives in your brain, that it's locked inside your skull, nothing more than a side effect of neurons firing, synapses snapping, and chemicals spilling through gray matter. They told you it was local, trapped, finite, a passenger inside flesh. But they lied. And that lie is the root of your cage. Your brain is not the source. It's the receiver. Let's use their favorite example. The radio. You turn it on. It makes sound. Voices, music, rhythm, all emerging from this little box. But is the music inside the radio? Remember, the radio is tuned to a frequency that was already there, already in the air, already in the field. All it did was receive. Now take that understanding and apply it to the greatest illusion of all, your mind. You are not your brain. You are not the signals dancing through your cortex. Those are just the receivers, just hardware. You are the frequency behind the signal. And that frequency, it's not local. It's non-physical. It is field-based. It is connected. It is infinite. That means you are not confined to the limits of your body. You are not some isolated ego floating through time. You are tapped into something eternal. They want you small because they fear you big. Why do they want you to believe consciousness is just brain tissue? Because if you believe that, you'll think you die when your body does. You'll think your influence ends at your skin. You'll think your power is limited to what you can touch, taste, and see. And people who believe that, they don't build empires. They don't walk through walls of fire. They don't rewrite the field. They stay caged, tamed, predictable. But you were born to override the cage. The moment you realize consciousness is not inside you, but that you are inside it, your entire relationship with life fractures and reforms. You're not a player on the board. You are the signal creating the board. What you believe shapes the field. What you are collapses it into form. The field is not separate from you. You are not in the universe. You are the universe, compressed into a node of awareness. Your thoughts are not whispers in the dark. They are waves in the fabric of space. And the field doesn't respond to idle wishes. It responds to signal strength. That means your power doesn't come from thinking positive. It comes from becoming intentional. When you move with purpose, when your emotions align with your vision, when your thoughts burn with precision, you don't just manifest, you direct. Because the field doesn't obey the weak. It obeys the aligned. It obeys the warrior who remembers their place in the cosmos. Your influence is not bound by distance. They will tell you, you're just one person. You can't change anything. You're not that important. But if consciousness is non-local, then your thoughts don't end in your head. They ripple, like a signal broadcast across time and space. You felt it. The sudden gut pull when someone you love is in pain. The flash of knowing before something happens. The undeniable, unexplainable sense that you are connected to something far greater than what your senses can explain. That's not fantasy. That's field interaction. That's consciousness bleeding through the veil. And once you stop pretending that you're just one person, once you start living like the entire grid is listening, you will command outcomes like lightning follows charge. But only if you stop thinking small. If you are connected to the all, then what excuse do you have? Here's the darkest truth of all. Every time you say, I can't, the field hears, I won't. Every time you shrink yourself, you distort the signal. You blur the frequency. You jam the connection. You don't get to be infinite and passive. You don't get to be cosmic and lazy. You don't get to be divine and excuse-ridden. You are either in command of the signal, or you are noise. And noise gets erased. So if you're tired of cycles that repeat, if you're done living a life built from doubt, if you're ready to stop echoing the smallness you were conditioned into, then speak like the field hears you. Move like the field responds to you. Live like your consciousness is shaping everything you touch, because it is. Final thought on non-local consciousness. You are not just alive. You are a node of intention in a universe built on feedback. You are not some passing thought in the cosmic story. You are the author, not local, not limited, not locked into flesh, but limitless, interwoven, tapped into a lattice of infinite potential. So don't think small. Don't act small. Don't dream small. Because the moment you stop pretending to be just human, you'll become the one thing the system can't control. A conscious warrior, connected, unchained, and impossible to stop. So now you've seen it. 5 truths. 5 blades forged in fire. Each one sharp enough to slice through the illusion you were born into. Let's recap what you've remembered. Lesson 1. You are the feedback. The universe mirrors what you believe, not what you beg for. Lesson 2. Miracles aren't rare. You are one. The odds of your existence defy the known limits of probability. Lesson 3. There is no emptiness. What they call void is pure untapped power, waiting for a command. Lesson 4. Your reality is a mirror, not a prison, not a punishment, a reflection, and it can be reprogrammed. Lesson 5. Consciousness is not local. You are not confined to your mind or your body. You are a transmitter plugged into the infinite. This is the truth they buried beneath distraction, comfort, and programming. Because if you knew the field responded to you, if you truly understood that your thoughts, emotions, and expectations reshape time, space, and matter, then they could no longer control you. They couldn't pacify you with debt, screens, dopamine, and lies. They couldn't bribe you into silence with comfort. They couldn't shame you into obedience with their empty systems. You'd rise. You'd build. You'd ignite the signal of someone who doesn't beg for a better life, but bends the field to create one. To our returning GrimFace warriors, you've walked through this fire before. You've felt the sting of truth cutting through your softness. You've looked into the mirror and chosen responsibility over excuses. And you're still here, scarred, sharper, more focused than ever. We see you. We feel you. You are not alone in this. You are part of a global force, spiritually armed, mentally unshakable, physically unbreakable. And every time you act with precision, every time you train your mind, body, and frequency, you echo into the field with a signal that makes this world harder to lie to. You are not just surviving, you are reclaiming. To the ones who just arrived, this is your call. Not to join a movement, but to become one. You don't have to understand it all. You don't need a perfect plan. You only need to decide. Are you going to keep watching your reflection echo weakness? Or will you take command of the field and carve your signal into the fabric of existence? Because we're not just talking motivation. We're talking metamorphosis. We're talking about escaping the cage and building your own world. But it requires a new code. Discipline, clarity, fire, and relentless remembrance of what you are. The GrimFace movement is not a trend. It's a transmission, a signal for the black sheep, the outcasts, the warriors who never fit into this soft, dying system. We don't want followers. We want architects. Those who will master the internal, command the external, and refuse to kneel to the illusion of limitation ever again. So subscribe, train, rewatch, rewrite, retune, reclaim. Because you're not small. You're not lost. You're not random. You're the one the field has been waiting for. And the world will never be the same once you rise.